May was just a good month all around. Hey book besties, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be rounding up all of the books that I read in May and the books I'm planning to read in June. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stick around for more book content. I love sharing reading roundups like this one with hopefuls lists, as well as book recommendations, book hauls, book reviews, all of the fun bookish things, so make sure you're following along. In May, I ended up reading 11 books and I had such a good time. So let's round up the books that I read. First up is Emma M. Lyon, Volume 3. This one is my favorite so far. Emma is so funny, and this one had me laughing out loud. There were so many hilarious moments. It was just such a good time. If you've not started this series yet, I highly recommend it. It's a perfect palate cleanser, and it's great if you like historical fiction and just like an easy, cozy read, which sometimes cozy doesn't do it for me, but Emma is hilarious. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. This is the first time I've given a 5-star rating to one of the Emma M. Lyon books. The others were 4 stars, but I just had a great time with it. Next, I picked up 1 and 4, which was actually supposed to be on my June TBR because it was part of like my Pride Month books that I wanted to read, and I read it early and I couldn't stop reading it. I started it, I was like, I need an audiobook, so I'll just start this one since it's the end of the month. I finished it in 24 hours. Actually, I finished it in like 8 hours because I started it while I was going on some errands, and then I just kept reading it that night. It was so good. I loved it so much. I ended up giving it 5 stars. It was a fantastic thriller. Next is My Sister the Serial Killer. This was like a very quick audiobook. I want to say it was like between 4 to 5 hours, but honestly, I didn't really enjoy it. It's a thriller book, and while the story had a lot of good like tension between the sisters and good like relationship dynamics, the story wasn't gripping enough and just didn't really have enough to it to keep me interested. And for a book that's like really short, I was kind of expecting a little bit more. I ended up only giving this one 2 stars. I read another Lucinda Berry book this month, Under Her Care. This one has been on my TBR for a very long time, and it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. It was just like, I don't know, I kind of struggled with the story a little bit because it deals with a mom who has a child with autism, and I have a child with autism, so some of those things were a little bit like hard to read and just a little uncomfy, but I pushed past it and the story ended up going like a little bit differently than I had expected, but I just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't that good. It was just okay. I finished Shield of Sparrows, which I had started last month, and this was really good. I ended up giving it 4 stars, and I'm not a big romantasy reader, but I would say this is a great intro to romantasy because I didn't feel like too confused as I was reading it or like lost in what was going on, and I had a great time. The ending was so good. I'm very excited to move on to book 2, which hopefully I can get started in June because I want to keep this like fresh in my mind when I start the next one, but I did really enjoy it. So if you're not a big romantasy reader, this could be a good one to get you started. I picked up The Bluff, which is a thriller book by J.L. Hyde, who is one of my favorite thriller authors, and I had a great time with this one. This is another one, first of all, it's really short, and I just binged it. It was so good. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I finished out the Bourbon Boys series with Bourbon and Secrets and Bourbon and Proof. Bourbon and Secrets is book 2, and I'll be honest, like, I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about this one because it's like a single dad, and I'm like not a huge fan of the single dad trope, but I love this series, so I was excited to dive back in, and let me tell you, this was incredible. Victoria Wilder did such a good job blending romance and suspense in this one, and it almost leaned more suspenseful to me. Like the suspense story was mostly dealing with the FMC, and that had such thriller vibes to it, so that really helped me like lock in and get me like super intrigued with this one. I loved it so much. And then the romance, oh my god, like Victoria Wilder is fantastic at writing very sexy like scenes and just like the tension. It was so sexy. I loved it. And then I dove right into Bourbon and Proof, which is book 3. Now, I was genuinely thinking that this was going to be my favorite in the series because we met these two in the first book, and like the tension they had together was so good, and I just loved how that was. But I will say that the book, like, I loved it. It was really good, but it didn't live up to what my expectations were. And maybe that was because I had high expectations, but I really, like, this one was like blew it out of the park. So it was hard to top this one, and I did enjoy it, but not as much as the other in the series. I gave this one 4.5 stars. I gave this one 5 stars if I didn't mention that before. Yeah, I love this series so much. If you haven't read it yet, you need to. I picked up Fever Dream, which is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I got it on release day. I pre-ordered the Target edition, which is so pretty. And I will say that I liked it. I gave this one 4 stars, but this book has like a reality show trope, I guess you call it, to it. And reality is just, I don't really like reality shows as it is, but even in books, I'm just like not that intrigued by it. So that was part of what didn't really like draw me to the story, even though I was really excited about these characters because we'd met these two in other Elsie Silver universes before. But the other reason I wasn't a big fan is because I started with an immersive read with this one, and I did not like the audiobook. Teddy Hamilton is the narrator for Emmett, and I don't really vibe with his narration style. I don't like it. And so that kind of, I don't want to say ruined, but sort of dampened the story for me. I don't even know if that's a word, but it didn't live up to what I was expecting, and I didn't think it made sense for this character either. So I ended up like about halfway through switching to just reading with my eyeballs, and that felt much better for me. But I wonder if I would have a different opinion if I had only read it with my eyeballs. So I don't know. I will say that this sets up a new series. So it's the first in a series, and we're going to be following all of Emmett's siblings, and I am very excited because these family dynamics are so good. I can't wait to see the rest of the series because I think it's going to be really good. Also, one of the exciting things about this book is I got to meet Elsie Silver in May. I went up to Louisville, Kentucky to go to one of the events she was doing on tour for the release of this book, and it was the best experience. I had so much fun. It was so cool to not only meet her, but also hear her talk about writing, like writing this book, writing her other books, and I had the best time. And I did end up getting a signed copy of this book somewhere, so I have 2 copies now, but this is so pretty, and the other one is just like standard edition of it, but it's signed, and that is so special. Next, I read an arc for 8 Endless Seconds. This is a cowboy romance by an indie author, and this released in May, and I got to do an arc read at the beginning of the month, and it was really good. It's a very emotional story, so if you love emotional reads, you have to check this one out. I gave this one 4 stars. And last, I read Yesteryear. There was so much hype around this book, particularly in the beginning of the month. I feel like it's fizzled out a little bit, and I had to know where I landed, and I had a great time with this one. I gave it 4 stars, and I thought it was such a really intriguing story. I was very locked in. Like, I could not put the book down, and I had to figure out what was going on in this world. So yeah, I had a great time, and like, I'm a little bit skeptical of some of the certain criticisms of this book, because it definitely shines a light on a certain type of people, and I think some of those types of people really take offense to that, when I think it really should open like a mirror to like kind of be like, well, wait, this is a little bit weird. Like, anyway, I thought it was great. I think it lives up to the hype. Even though I didn't give it like 5 stars, I think it is still a really interesting story, and it was well written. So those were the 11 books I read in May. Now let me tell you what my top 3 reads were. In the number 3 spot is 1 in 4. This was such a good thriller. It was so bingeable. I could not put it down. It's definitely one of my favorite thriller reads of the year so far. And in the number 2 spot, Emma M. Lyon, Volume 3. This was so fun. Like I said, I was laughing so much. I had such a good time with it. And for my favorite read in May, Bourbon and Secrets. This is in the top 3 of my favorite reads for the year so far. I just had such a good time. Like, the vibes of this book, I loved being in this world and reading this story, and like, I could just feel it deep in my bones. I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. And now let's round up all the books I plan to read in June. So last month I did share a TBR I have for Pride Month, specifically with like queer books that I want to read in June. So I will be like going through some of those again, as well as the other books that I'm wanting to read in June. So first up, for my local book club, we are reading Kin, and I am very excited about this one. I remember when it like first came out, like it was a book of the month pick, and everybody was talking about it, and I had FOMO, but luckily I ended up getting it in PR, which I was very excited for. And when my book club picked it, I was like, this is great, because I have heard such good things about this story. So I'm very excited to dive in. I have an arc I'm going to be reading in June, Rumors and Whiskey. This is the first book in Victoria Wilder's new series, Whiskey Women, and I'm so excited to be on the arc team. Part of the reason I wanted to finish out the Bourbon Boys series was because I knew I was going to be getting this arc and I was excited to dive in. And let me tell you, I cannot wait. It sounds so good, and it's based in Tennessee, which is where I live. So I love when books are based where I live or somewhere I know of or have been to. I'm so excited. I'm going to be starting it this week. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I also have a book that I'm currently in the middle of that I tried very hard to finish off in May, and I just didn't do it. It is Death on the Lanai. This is book 2 in the Golden Girls Cozy Mystery series. Golden Girls is my favorite TV show. If you can see my little planters back here, I'm obsessed. So I was very excited to receive the arc of this. This comes out on June 2nd, and the plan is to finish it before release day, but I just didn't get to it by the end of May. So it's really fun so far. It's really like watching a Golden Girls episode, which kind of heals me because knowing that there aren't any more Golden Girls episodes after having seen all of them at least a dozen times, it's nice to get a little bit more of these characters. Now let's go over all the like queer books I have on my TBR that I want to get to. I definitely won't be getting to all of these, but some of them I am prioritizing, so let me go over those first. My priority one that I'm going to be starting very soon is Last First Kiss. This is an MM romance that I actually got the audio for. I recently was accepted to the Libro FM audiobook influencer program, and this one was one of the picks for May, and I was very excited because I've had this book on my shelf for a little while, but I hadn't picked it up yet, and I knew I wanted to read it in June, so when I saw the audio, I was like, great, let's do an immersive read. So I cannot wait. Also, by the way, if you are not a Libro FM subscriber, I just joined like right before I was accepted into the influencer program, and I love it because I can support like local indie bookstores when I make purchases, which is perfect. I love that. So if you're interested in signing up for an audiobook membership where you can also give back to your local community or a local community, I'll put the link down below so you can sign up for a membership. I'm really enjoying that subscription so far. So yeah, very excited for this one. Next is Delilah Green Doesn't Care. This book has been on my TBR for way too long. I've heard such good things about it, so this is definitely a priority for me. Next up, I have More Like Enigmas. This book just came out, and I actually got the arc of this one, and I didn't get to it in time, so I'm planning to read it in June. I have the audio for this one as well, so I'll do an immersive read. And then originally I had 1 and 4 on my June TBR for Pride Month, and I read it already. I wanted to add another thriller with queer themes, so I ended up going with Real Bad Things. This is actually on KU with the audio. Listen, I'm all about the immersive reads right now, so when I can do an immersive read, I'm gonna do it. This one sounds really intriguing. I think it's about a woman who goes back to her hometown after something kind of tragic happened, and she like might be a suspect in something, and then you find out the answers. Whatever it is, it sounded really good. And the last like priority read I have is Pretty Like the Wildflowers. This cover, I'm just obsessed with it, but it's a cowgirl romance, and I love my cowboy romances, so this has to be read this month. I cannot wait. It's also not very long. I think the Kindle edition was like 230 pages, so I'll be able to fly through it. And then I've got 3 more that I am hoping to get to. First is When I Picture You. This one sounds really good. It's like a rock star and a photographer. I think it's like kind of supposed to be giving like Swiftie vibes. I don't know, but it sounded really good. And for these last 2, in all honesty, like they're kind of similar, so I'll probably only get to one of them. This one is Anderson and Bloom. This is Late Bloomer, so we will see. But like I said, these ones are a little bit lower on the list because I have a lot. And also, I know I'm gonna want to like probably throw in a couple more thrillers because I need that fix. I'm a thriller girly at heart, so yeah. I'll be doing a lot of romance reading, but we need some thrillers in there. So that is my lineup for June. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great month. I have a lot of good things lined up, so yeah, I'm very excited. In the comments, let me know what your favorite read was in May and what you're hoping to read in June. Thanks for watching, besties. I'll see you next time.